Alright, today is part 2 of the Tonka truck build. Last video we mounted the axles. Can't see that one, it's back there. It's got a SCX10 front and rear axles. This one is not bolted in. It has a SW1210SG Savix servo. It's waterproof. I believe it is steel gears, 277 ounces of torque. And one thing with these waterproof servos that I've noticed is they have a short wire, which with this build will probably need a servo extension. We'll set that out of the way. Next part, removing the cab. Really easy. I'm gonna get this in a good spot. There's 2 rivets. It's easier to just do this. There's a rivet here, and on the inside there's a rivet there. They're easiest drilled out through the bottom. There's one there and one there. This one's easy to drill. This one's got the round top on it, so it's hard to get the drill bit started, just because it wants to slide off the edge. So once you get the cab removed, you need to take and mark this spot out. It is the bottom edge of the furthest back rivet hole, 1.25 inches forward, centered from side to side, and 3/4 inch wide. Hope that makes sense for all of you. You'll need to cut that out for the servo to go through. Now, I forgot to get some more aluminum for the mount for the actuator that goes underneath. So when you get the cab off, there are some necessary modifications to the cab you have to do. You need to take and cut this off here. That will open up access for that hole in the frame that's got to be cut for the actuator, and you've got to cut out a small section back here. I'm not 100% sure on if that's the correct height. I might need to cut it out a little taller for the actuator. And underneath, there's 3 big ribs right here that I have cut out and removed and ground down the best I could so that the battery can go in there. You also have to cut out a small section of the floor of the cab. You can kind of see it right there. You can't see it hardly at all when there's battery in the hole. Now for the electronics mounting on this one. The speed control, fish it out of here without tearing wires out. The speed control is going to be mounted just like that on the inside of this rib. You can't put it on the outside because there's going to be screws through the sides of this on little brackets to reattach the cab to the frame, because it's going to be in a different spot and none of the rivet holes will line up. So once I get that mounted in there and 4-channel receiver mounted in there, which that will go down in here like so, fits in there real nice. Spectrum SR 410 4-channel receiver. Going to be using a stock axial speed control in this, and the Castle BEC, which will be located around next to the receiver. And later on I will be making the battery retainer, because the battery goes right here in this spot with the ribs that you just cut out, or I just cut out. I don't have a battery close to show you how well they fit. You can put a pretty large battery in here. I've got a 5300 milliamp 3-cell battery. It's a dynamite speed pack that will fit in here just fine with plenty of room. So the cab actually houses all the electronics, and when you remount it, this bottom hole I haven't made any of the brackets for this yet. I will, once I make the brackets, I'll do a video and show you how the cab is remounted. But when it does get remounted, this rivet hole will be halfway showing. You can see that. It will be mounted about there. So we're moving the cab forward. It's about a half an inch to do that. So the cab is taken care of. It is almost fully modified, ready to go back on. So once you get the hole cut, you can set that aside, or you can wait on that if you want to. Wait until I get to that point. Now the transmission. I already got it mounted and everything all drilled. These are 1 inch by 1/8 inch aluminum bar screwed to the side of the transmission cross member, one on each side. They're 2 1/8 inches long with a piece of 1/2 inch aluminum angle screwed to the inside edge, and on the side with the motor you have to put the screw in backwards with the nut on the outside because it hits the motor and the housing. You actually have to shave just a tiny little bit off the side of the housing here to make it all fit right. And once you get these holes drilled, I just kind of hold it next to it, mark them out this way, and figure out how far up they need to go and drill them. These holes don't really matter where they go in here as long as they don't get in the way of the screws to mount it to the frame. So once you have all this mounted, attached to the cross member, it's ready to put in the truck. So you get it set in there however you want to, exactly where you want it, and you just drill them out. These holes are already drilled. I'm going to just show you. Holes are already drilled, and then you bolt that on there, and that is your transmission mount. So what it looks like with an axle on it also, that is what the underside of the truck is going to look like, with the exception of there's going to be a small bracket that sticks up almost to the drive line by the front axle, which is the mount for the actuator for the dump box. So that's all for today's video. I've got to do some more work, try to get a little further along, but that'll show you what needs to be modified on the cab and how to attach the transmission. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.